Hello everybody, my name is Yani Ovcharov and today I will be presenting to you the topic of financial literacy and youth young adult indebtedness in Bulgaria by reviewing structural trends and digital strategies. Firstly, the introduction, purpose and scope. Bulgaria is facing a sharp rise in youth indebtedness and evidence points to a close link between low financial literacy and the rapid rise of aggressive digital fast loan products. My study focuses on people aged 15 to 30 and it is a mixed method synthesis carried out between April and August of this year, 2025. I combined policy review, official statistics, regulator findings, industry data, and a short survey of about 400 young people. All in all, by proposing curricular reform with bank embedded digital education and formal regulation, I believe this worrying trend of indebtedness rise can successfully be mitigated. Secondly, I'll talk about my methodology. I used a mixed approach to triangulate the problem. First, I reviewed academic research and government documents, notably the National Strategy for Financial Literacy of the country from 2021 to 2025 and its annual progress reports. Second, I analyzed official statistics from the National Statistical Institute, Eurostat, and the Bulgarian National Bank, and regulator outputs from the Consumer Protection Commission. Third, I drew on industry sources, ABB, as well as Procredit, the only fully digital bank in Bulgaria. And I also ran a short survey reaching over 400 respondents from May to June this year. Finally, I spoke with banking practitioners, including contacts at Procredit, to test whether the digital proposals were actually feasible. And my first-hand point of view, as someone in the same generation, helped me see how young people actually encounter financial products, but I cross-checked everything against external datasets to avoid any bias. And here you can see some of the charts from the survey. They are in Bulgarian because the respondents were tested in Bulgarian. But in the first one, you can see that 70% of high school students and university students said they had never taken a course in business economics or finance outside of school or in school. And in the second one, you see that 90% of people think that those courses of finance and business should actually be taught at school when they aren't at almost every single institution in Bulgaria. Context. Some background. Bulgaria starts from a low baseline of financial literacy. Past assessments, like the S&P's Finlit and PISA, both put Bulgaria among the lowest EU performers. The Ministry of Finance established a national strategy, as I said, for the 4-year period between 2021 and 2025, and the action plan set sensible priorities, open resources, teacher training, and targeted outreach, but the plan lacks dedicated funding for each measure, and no national evaluation has yet confirmed actual improvements. Meanwhile, the digital environment has changed fast in those 4 years. Internet and mobile banking use rose from 8% in 2019 up to 31% last year in 2024, and youth adoption is much higher. That digital shift creates both risk, like new loan channels, influencers, but also opportunity. It gives us a direct way to reach young people. As you can see in this graph, from 2019, only 8% of people were using e-banking, up to 31% this year. This provides us a possible channel to mitigate those problems using about indebtedness rise by, for example, giving gamified approaches to the banks or teaching people online lessons about which loans are actually valuable for them to take. Next, I'm going to continue with my findings and discussions. Firstly, the rising levels of indebtedness actually showed here. The striking facts, firstly, are that the share of debtors under 25 have actually jumped from only 7% in 2021 up to 21% in 2024 last year. That is more than a three-time increase in only 3 years. Additionally, the Chamber of Private Enforcement Agents in the country found that over 120,000 people aged 18 to 30 are already in enforcement proceedings by the end of last year, and about 80,000 of those people are from the age cohort of 25 to 30, against a cohort which is roughly 270,000 people aged 25 to 29, This implies that more than 30% of the people aged 25 to 29 in Bulgaria are actually already in enforcement proceedings for the reason of being in debt. That is was shocking to me first of all, but this is also not an isolated spike. It's a cohort level calamity. Each enforcement can block access to housing, credit and jobs, and can stall life transitions like starting a household or continuing education. Here you can see it is illustrated in this chart. Next, the main drivers. You might be asking what is actually driving all of this. Well, first, financial habits from early. Many young people never get structured financial education. As I told you before, 70% of people reported that they had never taken an extracurricular course in economics or personal finance. Secondly, the market has exploded. Non-bank fast lenders target young people online with ID-only underwriting, minimal disclosures, and heavy marketing emphasizing speed. The pro-credit digital bank reports the fast loan portfolio exceeded more than 3 billion euro in 2024 and that many fast loans carry APRs above 40%. Third, legal and behavioral mechanics accelerate problems. Missed installments trigger acceleration clauses or allow creditors to obtain orders quicker. Promissory notes shorten the path to enforcement. Fee loading and tariff enforcement costs also inflate small debts into large claims. When we combine the aggressive marketing with loan stacking and the weak budgeting skills of the vast population in Bulgaria, we get that rapid escalation, and that's what we believe is causing all this. Next, we're going to continue by examining some other potential causes. We tested obvious alternatives such as demographics, which actually don't explain the rise. The age cohort from 15 years to 29 years stayed roughly stable in the past 5 years, and unemployment among young people actually eased from 10% in 2021 to only 7% last year in 2024. Purchasing power rose too. Actual individual consumption climbed from 67 PPS in 2021 to 74 PPS in 2024. This all signals that the purchasing power and the economic living conditions of the mass population, if anything, are increasing, so that shouldn't account for the rise in indebtedness. But, however, the real signal is in the lending market. As you can see here in this graph, non-bank loan claims grew from 4 billion BGN, which is the Bulgarian currency in 2022, up to 7 billion by June 2025. This is a roughly 60% increase. And the Consumer Protection Commission's review in the late 2024, mid-2025 found widespread unfair contact terms, hidden pricing, and evasive practices from those banking organizations, non-banking organizations. So the combination of low financial literacy and rapidly expanding poorly disclosed non-bank credit appears to be the main structural cause of this problem. Proposed solutions. I propose two linked strategies. First, curriculum reform. Introduce mandatory financial literacy teaching starting in middle school. Integrate practical modules into technology and entrepreneurship, math or civics, for example, and scale teacher training plus accessible digital resources. Secondly, I propose digital integration. We need to embed short gamified money management lessons and clear quick reminders before borrowing inside the banking apps. This reaches students and the many young adults already outside of school. The idea is simple. We need to teach the basics early and reinforce them when young people already transact. And importantly, proposals must include safeguards, require clear APR and standard European consumer credit information disclosures online, and also clamp down on misleading fast loan ads and pair lessons with the, obviously, cyber hygiene guidance. Some directions for future research. I believe we need pilots and better measurement. For example, first we need to run small pilot programs inside digital banking platforms to see if the in-app lessons actually improve understanding of credit terms and reduce the risky borrowings. Secondly, use incoming international data, the OECD ENFE adult survey results, and ultimately the PISA 2029 result examination, which is yet to take place in 4 years. We need to use them to benchmark progress and commission a nationally representative youth survey sooner to close the immediate data gap and provide more insights for the organizations fighting this problem today. Thirdly, We need to improve enforcement and debtor registers so policymakers can identify which products and districts are worst affected and target interventions properly. These steps will let us move from concept to evidence-based scale. Conclusion. To wrap up everything I've said, the data points to a structural challenge, as you can all see. Tens of thousands of young Bulgarians are already in enforcement because low literacy has met a booming, under-regulated fast loan market. The consequences are extremely serious. Such include cohort credit exclusion, lower consumer demand, and potential GDP drag, rising social and enforcement costs, as well as widening inequality among the population. The remedy combines short-term action and long-term reform. Pilots inside banks' digital channels, clearer regulation, and mandatory practical financial education starting from middle school. As a 2023 survey stated, people have already formed their beliefs about money and finances by the time they get into university, so starting from middle school is probably the way to go. And I believe that if we do these things and measure what works, we can prevent an entire generation from being financially sidelined in the future. Thank you for your attention.